Hey, it's Daniella Rabbani, and you are listening to the Mom Curious podcast. My guest today is Dr. Rachel Goldman, nationally recognized clinical psychologist, speaker, author, mother, and one of the most trusted voices out there when it comes to stress behavior change and mental health that actually feels usable in real life. She's a clinical assistant professor at NYU Grossman School of Medicine, a sought-after media expert, and the author of the upcoming book, When Life Happens. Dr. Rachel helps people navigate life with more clarity, compassion, and most of all, practical tools, which is exactly why I'm excited to have her. This is the Mom Curious podcast, where we say the quiet part out loud about womanhood, motherhood, and everything in between.
And I still have a couple of the vials.
Shut up!
No, you shut up. I kept them. So
You're just hoarding sperm?
No.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
That was a joke. 30, like my mid-30s, when like my body started changing and stuff after shitting out 3 kids.
Stop taking advice from people on the internet, like myself included.
And I didn't realize how heavy that would be, and that loving my children would not be enough to make me not a basket case.
And that gave me the freedom to do something for myself.
And it's an adventure that is not just all doom and gloom.
You know better, and if you didn't, now you know. I love your book, When Life Happens. I took it at my own pace, as you mentioned in the book.
I'm like so emotional about the book. Like it's like hearing people say, because it's not out in the world yet. I mean, it is, but it's not.
Look how many times I folded over.
And just when I hear things like that, you know, it's like you think you're going to write a book one day. You think you have information and messages to share. But to actually hear that it touches people, or there's so many things that resonated, like it just... I like just fills me with so much joy and emotion that like I think I'm just not used to it yet, and I'm still it's all very new still.
We are no stranger to tears here.
Yes. and I'm all for
Gabe,
tears.
our engineer, well knows.
Yes.
This is a safe space, but
Yes.
I think it's probably also
gosh.
something that I noticed in interviewing therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists is like your whole work is not centering yourself. And so when you write a book, you know, it's mostly about cognitive behavioral therapy, and it breaks it down in a very easy to understand, easy to access and implement sort of way. But it's an extension of you.
Absolutely.
And so it's like you're in the spotlight, which is probably new, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even as a professor.
Yeah.
It's about your students.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's literally, I kind of joke that this book is like my brain unloaded.
Yeah.
It's like 15 years. I think I stopped counting. I think it's 15 years of clinical experience, but combined with me being a human. And you saw throughout it, I'm sure there's like little things here and there, maybe about my life or where I am in that stage of me writing the book.
Yeah.
Even like somewhere where I talk about thoughts, I say, I'm never going to finish this book. And I used it as an example, and I literally went through that process in the moment, having to examine the evidence and use all the tools on myself. So
That was my biggest question, actually.
Yeah.
You were just talking about, someone asked you if all of your training has helped you be a parent. And and similarly, I'm like, well, how do you apply this to your very full life?
Yeah. So I use all the tools. I use every single one of them, probably.
Can we walk through at some point?
Yeah.
I was hoping we could like go through some of the tools that I did here.
I would love that.
But
Yeah.
you use them.
Oh, yeah. So the number one tool that I use, and I teach all of my clients within, I'd say, the first 3 sessions of seeing a new client, and I do at the very beginning of every speaking engagement, is that I pause and take a breath. So like just breathing, just taking that breath to reground yourself, to center yourself. I block, so I talk about it in here, but about creating moments throughout the day. And I do that. Like we have full plates, we have full days, and we're not given extra time, so to say, right? It's not like an assignment and they're like, here, take an extra 5 minutes. You have to create that time for you. And I create it for myself, which I know I'm very fortunate and lucky that I can create my own schedule. but I block time, even if it's 5 minutes, but I definitely block time in between sessions, in between meetings. I'm usually the first person at appointments or like a meetup. Like I want to get there early to be able to have that time.
You were early today.
Yes, I need to be. It's like that's how I function. I need to get here. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to drink my water. I need to breathe. And it's like just part of my routine that I realized works for me. So I just keep hitting the reset button.
It's like you read my mind because I was hoping, it's the first exercise in the book.
Oh,
is
yes,
to
at the
take a
beginning.
breath. And I
Yeah.
actually was hoping that as long as the listener isn't driving.
Correct. I always say that. Yes, whenever I'm doing these, I'm like, as long as you're not driving.
It is 10:45. We actually were supposed to start at 10:45, but Dr. Rachel was early, and so was I because I was so excited.
Yes.
So we have time. Maybe we can take a moment to breathe with Gabe, our engineer, and with our listener right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now is as good a time as any. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you're driving, you can participate, but I'm not going to encourage you to obviously not close your eyes and not to change your feeding position, obviously. But if you are listening and you're seated, or for us, I would say let's put both feet flat on the floor. And when I teach diaphragmatic breathing, I usually have people put one hand on their chest and one on their diaphragm. We don't have to do that today, but the reason I do encourage it when you're practicing on your own, not when you're like out in public necessarily, is to see if you're breathing more through your chest or your belly. The reason is because if I told you to take a deep breath right now, I'm going to exaggerate it, but most of us would probably do this and take a really deep breath through our chest, which actually does the complete opposite and really constricts everything and makes it tight.
Can I ask why?
Why it does that when we do
Why
it?
do we have that
Like instinct to just,
Yeah, it seems so
Yeah, well, I
silly.
think if we just say take a deep breath, like most people just like, I don't know, maybe when we're kids, right? Like hold your breath underwater, hold your breath. How long can you hold your breath for? I think most people they think that we fill our lungs by breathing in through our nose in this really big chest, but it doesn't work. It actually does the complete opposite and makes us more stressed from the physiological level. So if we want, we can do this. And then what I'm going to do in just a moment, I'm going to instruct you to take a breath in through your nose, imagining a balloon in your belly expanding. And then you're going to exhale through your mouth while your belly goes back in. You can imagine a straw, like you're blowing out through a straw or birthday candles.
So I just exhaled. And I also
everything,
just want
right?
to tell you that Dr. Rachel writes this exact word.
It really is the exact in the book.
In the book, and it actually happens several times where you remind the reader to
Just pause
breathe
and take a
yeah,
breath.
and I found myself breathing very deeply while you were talking because some of the elements of the book are, stimulating. You're talking about how we live our life, and when you set us up for that breathing early on, I really found myself breathing that way as I was turning the pages.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, here we go.
So let's do it together. So we're going to take a breath in through our nose. Ready? Take a breath in. Belly expands. And exhale. Let's do it again. Take a breath in. And exhale. Let's take one more. Take a breath in. And exhale. So before I say anything else, I want to know how that felt for you.
I'm having a great time.
Amazing. I wasn't expecting that, but that's even better than I was expecting.
Yeah, I actually, I am like certified in breathwork.
Oh.
Yeah, I love,
Amazing.
and also in acting
knew that,
training.
actually.
Oh yeah,
Right.
in acting training we do a lot of breathing techniques. I mean, in Shakespeare you need to hold
Right.
a lot of air in order to get to the end of the thought, which can be rather long sentences. And in singing, so like this is something that is so important to my instrument is the breath, and I often don't give myself that time. So I knew we would start the day today. I also have 3 interviews. You're going on national television, and I just I knew that I wanted to start
I love that.
our session
Yeah.
with that breath.
Yeah. And what I love about the breathing, and I talk about this in my book, but is that you can always go back to it. It is something so simple. And if you practice, you can get to the point that maybe you need one, right? Like when I first started doing this, I probably needed 3, 5, maybe even 10, right? Like breaths to really kind of ground myself. And I'm at the point, and my hope is for everybody to get to this point. And maybe it's not diaphragmatic breathing, maybe it's a different breathing exercise that works for you, but that you might only need one. So for instance, right before I step in the door, right before I step on stage, I just take that one breath to kind of reground myself. Or if I'm in between things, I'm just like, okay. And you can just create that moment. And it literally, on the physiological level, just decreases everything and brings us back to a baseline, which I like to think of in a way that we're being proactive and preventative. So whatever we're about to walk into, right? Like I did it right before I walked in the door.
Here?
Well, in general, I do it all the time, literally. But if you do it right before you walk in the door, like you don't know what you're walking into. It could be stressful. So like, let's just bring that down a notch. So then you're a little more prepared for whatever you're about to walk into.
I love that preparedness. It's also just sprinkled throughout the book, which is life happens. And sometimes life is really very hard. Sometimes life is demanding. Not hard. You know, you were saying just a lot. Right now you're in the big push of your, you know, bringing your book baby into the world. Yeah. It's a lot. You're still seeing clients. That's a lot. A lot. It's demanding. Right. Sometimes it's tragic. There are a lot of factors that go into when life happens. But if we can set ourselves up, which is really the premise of the book, if we can set ourselves up for a more harmonious internal experience, perhaps when life happens, it doesn't have to hit us so hard. Listen.
Exactly. It's still going, right.
It's still gonna,
life still sucks sometimes, right? Like there's still things that happen that are very, very difficult, challenging, horrible things happen in the world, right? And I'm not minimizing that at all. But the key is that if you can do what's in your control, right? Plans don't always go as planned. We can't predict the future. But if we can shift the mindset, it can be slightly less challenging. And if nothing else, we can be more resilient, right? It's about bouncing back. So, you know, like I'm not for toxic positivity, right? Like all emotions are valid and we need all those emotions. They give us signals, they give us data. Life is not perfect, right? Life is not always happy and cheery, and we're okay. That's okay. It's not supposed to be. But we have to acknowledge that some really yucky stuff happens in the world and in personal lives. And we can try our best by being a little more prepared, although we can never be prepared for certain things either.
Like parenting.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So I was
even a good thing. You know?
Yeah. Right. So I was saying to you before that somebody recently asked me if all of my training and being a psychologist prepared me for parenthood.
Yeah.
And she was shocked with my answer. I literally said, absolutely not. I said, nothing prepares you for parenting other than parenting.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm a little bit ahead of the game with my second because I went through it, you know, with my first, but not really.
No,
because everybody's
totally
different. Exactly.
They're different. You're different.
Exactly.
The world is different.
Right.
You know, my parents used to say they didn't write us a manual, and
So
as
true.
but what's so interesting is like, as a first-time mother, even as a second-time mother who like really thought I knew everything, I was like, they fucking wrote so many books. What are you talking about? They wrote the book.
Right.
I read all the books, and
They didn't do anything.
No.
Right.
No one's talking about your child.
Right.
No one's talking about your culture. I mean, the minute by minute experience of being a parent, or in my case of grief, like. No one
prepares you for that.
No one can.
Right, exactly.
Because
it's you and your experience.
Yeah, this whole podcast was predicated on the idea that like, holy shit, my mind is blown by parenting, and maybe I can give, you know, our sisters behind us a leg up, and maybe I can. Maybe we can. Maybe we can like, you know, let them know that like. Certain things
like
are
give
normal.
them some of the tools, normalize some of it. Right.
But no one.
But you can't be fully prepared. You have no idea what those kids are going to throw at you any day.
Yeah.
It is so true, and it's so challenging. And yes, I mean, if I really think about it, yes, of course. Like if I think about my training and the things I do with my clients, like, you know, I help a lot of my clients who are parents navigate certain things. And then I'm like, oh, I could do that with my family, you know? So yes, does it help? Absolutely. But did it prepare me? No. Now that I'm in it, I'm like, oh, I can do, like what I'm talking about later on TV. I literally, it was funny. One of the things they're going to ask me is like, well, how do you repair from this if you say whatever? And I was like, oh, it happened to me last week.
Great,
and this is what I did. Like, I got this. Because I'm in it.
Yeah, you're so rare in that, and I think it's probably part of your success is that you're not afraid to talk about your own life experience, because I know that can be tricky in the profession.
Yeah.
But I
think
wonder,
it's helpful to share.
You're a human being.
Right.
And for me, when my therapist talks to me like a regular person and then has this clinical background and understands psychology, and the combination, I think, is what's very helpful to me. I've been in dynamics where they do not want to tell you anything about their lives. And for me, that just feels like I've just unloaded literally all of it. And
you're just
there's literally no personal exchange.
Right. Which is, I mean, so there's different types of therapy.
Yeah.
The type of therapy I do, as you know, is CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. And it allows a little bit more of that in just
it does.
Well, I mean, it's the way that it works, right? Like we're a little bit more a team. You know, if you were my client right now, we're more of a team. It's, you know, it's us working together. And, you know, I mean, there's no playbook on like you can or you can't disclose. Typically with psychodynamic, it is off limits, so to say.
What do you mean psychodynamic?
So psychodynamic is a different type of therapy. That's more the talk, probably what
Freud?
you described. Psychoanalytic is Freudian. I know there's,
guys.
we're going to get like a 101 in psychology right now.
Okay, great. I'm actually very into that.
Oh,
yeah,
so
why not?
psychoanalysis is more Freudian.
Okay.
And then you have something that's a little bit less Freudian, a little bit less analytic, is called psychodynamic. So it's more the talk therapy where the therapist is listening and engaged. Of course, I mean, they're always listening, but they're
I
a
actually
little
used
bit
to have
more.
a therapist who would fall asleep. That was not
Okay, that's
good.
not okay.
No.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
So psychodynamic is a little bit more of the modern day Freudian, I would say. Like you're not necessarily like you're not laying on a couch
5 days a week.
Right. You're seeing the person, you're seeing your therapist. They might react.
Seeing their reactions.
Yes. They're not going to react so much though, and they're not going to disclose any personal information. CBT is CBT is very me. I mean, that's why I wrote this book. Like I joke that I live, eat, breathe, sleep CBT. If it is helpful to the client, kind of the rule is, if it's therapeutically helpful to the client, you can disclose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I have a client going through something, lots of my clients have kids kind of around the similar age, and to just kind of validate and normalize it with them, I'm like, yeah, I know. My son was really challenging last night too. You're not alone. You know, and I think that's just so validating.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm going to validate you now.
Yes. Yeah.
It is validating.
Right. And I'm not lying. Like, I wouldn't lie about it if that
Yeah.
didn't actually happen. But no, parenting is challenging. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's okay. Well, no, it sucks sometimes. And that's also okay.
Should we do the awareness exercise?
Is that the, I think I just recorded that.
Wherever you are right
Yeah.
now, I want you to just pause. When you're doing this on your own, that means putting your phone down. What do I see? This is also an acting exercise, by the way.
Yeah. It's
a lot of
your
it.
senses.
A lot of what CBT offers, which I've never done before, and I've done all the healing modalities, which is like, why didn't I just do CBT? I mean, it seems great.
Well,
you know
I
what I
think
like
some
about CBT
people-
is like it doesn't seem like it's set it and forget it. It's like there's an admission that like you still have a brain that does what a brain does.
Right.
So you need to go back and
Exactly.
help it out every so often.
Right. And that's why this book, like I said at the beginning, my hope is that you will flag it, tag it, come back to it. Maybe one part won't resonate today, and then you'll go through another phase of your life and you're like, oh, wait, I think there's something that I could pull from now. You know, like everything's not going to be resonating right now. You're not going to pull every tool right now. But as you go through life, something might feel a little different, right? Like maybe you don't have kids right now and something doesn't really resonate. But maybe later when your plate's a little fuller and you have more responsibilities, maybe I'll be like, oh, I really need that.
So this awareness exercise actually has helped me a lot with my son.
Oh,
When he was
yeah.
little, he had these like big emotions. And I know this exercise from acting, which is essentially bringing yourself back to your five senses. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? And I felt like that was helpful for him because it's helpful for anyone who's having
Big
a
emotions.
fucking meltdown.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, what are some other tools that we can just like pop off to our listener? You do mention toxic positivity. I'm like going through the book right now. That actually, toxic positivity can also be like spiritual bypassing, right? Like this idea that like if I pretend it's all good, it's all good, and
Right. Like maybe it'll be all good one day. I don't know. Yeah.
But if we can flag those thoughts, those like glossing over the reality thoughts. You have this one example. So if you're ignoring or dismissing negative emotions, you can acknowledge the challenges while staying hopeful. So it's a yes and.
Right. I was just going to say the power of the and, I think, is a really big tool that people miss a lot. And that's all about having that growth mindset, but also acknowledging that life can be tough and I have the tools to get through it.
Well, life can be tough, but I have the mindset. So, you know, it's interesting. I wasn't ready to read this book. I've been in immense grief for a little over 8 months now, and I was not ready to read this book until now. And it was very interesting because I found myself just more willing to be happy, which is very interesting. My whole life, I took every step possible to be happy, to be fulfilled, etc. But in grief, there is like, you know, there's some survivor's guilt. There's some, there's a part of me that actually feels connected to my sister in sadness, which would, by the way, be so embarrassing to her because she was such a light. But it was the time for me to pick this up and say, I acknowledge this, and I'm allowed to have a stronger mindset. Yeah. That like these are the facts.
Right.
And.
Yeah. It's all about the and.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes sense. You know, I think, again, in different phases of our life, we're not ready or we're not capable of doing certain things, right? So
or willing,
right, or just not wanting to. You know, it's even CBT. CBT is the idea of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors being linked. And as I talk about in there, we can implement in the thought category, or we can implement or integrate something in the behavior category, like change one of them or work on one of them. Not everybody can do the thoughts. Not everybody can work on the cognitions. Or they need to wait a little bit, or maybe they need medication or other things first. So I think it's just a good reminder, and that's why I love CBT, is that if this one doesn't work, don't do it, right? Like I always say that about tools in your toolbox. If one doesn't work or you don't see yourself doing it, throw it in the garbage. Don't use it. Like if that breathing exercise we did earlier doesn't work for somebody and makes them more anxious, choose a different one.
Yeah, there are people like that.
Yeah, and that's okay.
That awareness exercise used to make me feel super anxious.
It can be scary for a lot of people. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah. Well, it can be anxiety provoking or kind of, I say scary, but kind of like overwhelming if you're not used to sitting and paying attention and being present, which many of us these days are not.
Listen, I went to acting school for 4 years where they taught me it like in the curriculum,
right,
to be in my body and in my senses. So
but
it's a totally different experience than like, and my children, you know, when I share it with him, that we have that shared language. Yeah. But when you come to it the first time after being in your head for so long, because so many of us are, which is normal,
or not wanting to be in your head. Right. And not wanting to pay attention to your thoughts or not want to pay attention to your body and the emotions and what your body is signaling to you.
Because it's uncomfortable.
Right. Exactly. And I think I put that in the book at one point, and it was like, and if you don't know how you feel right now, that's also okay.
Yeah. You're touching on something that I wanted to mention about the book, which is tone. It really feels like you're sitting down, not even across from you, but next to you.
Yeah, I love that it came across that way.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
I mean, that's what
There were so many times
where
you said, now I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm so glad, that kind of resonated. And
Absolutely
because I do feel like, and I did mention this in the book, like I want to be on this journey with you, right? Like life is tough, and I think we all need connection. We all need support. And I want to be on it with you because we are all going through similar but different things. We're all experiencing things differently, but we're all doing it, right? We're all doing this life as humans together.
I was shocked to see that you offered your email address.
I know. Everyone's been saying that. I'm like, why wouldn't I?
Right off the bat. Why wouldn't
And
you?
a few
For
other
like
times
a
I did
million
too.
reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I love to hear. I mean, I say this. I'll say it at the end of this podcast too. I mean, I love to hear from people. I want to know what resonated, and I love getting back to people and just hearing, what resonated with them and to connect. Because I also think, again, it makes people feel heard, and I don't think as much as we are all connected, there's so much disconnection in the world right now.
Oh.
Right. So I think
And maybe there always has been. I think there's a reason why CBT was created. There's a reason why therapy was created. There's a reason why.
Exactly.
Is because, like,
We need that deeper connection.
intimacy can be hard.
Yeah.
It can be hard.
And I think we're all, especially today, I think we're all just like on this running race in a way. Like, what can I do better? What can I do next? What can I go, right? And yes, I know right now I'm a little bit in that because I need to be. It's the phase of life that I'm in right now.
A sprint.
Right, exactly. But for many people, it is hard to just sit and connect. And when they do, they don't want to share what they're really going through. So if somebody is willing to open up to me, not as their therapist, but even in an email or today, I mean, another big podcast just aired, and I'm telling people like, reach out, send me, and I'm getting all these messages, and I'm just responding saying, thank you, I'm so glad that resonated, or that's amazing, thank you for sharing that with me. And it just allows people to feel heard. And that moment, like I can almost guarantee if I saw that person's face through the screen, they would be like a light, like a glimmer for even a moment that I'm giving them by just saying, I see you, I hear you, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
We don't get enough of that.
No, we don't. We don't get enough of that. It's so funny. I went into acting because I needed that on a mass scale. Like I needed a sea of people to be like, I see you and I hear you and I like it. And I think that's
amazing.
really interesting because sometimes we can pathologize that, but I do think that some people have
I'm
more
not
of an
going to.
appetite
Yeah.
for that type of being received.
Yeah.
And anyone who would email you has an appetite for that, and I'm so happy that they're moving towards it, that they're acknowledging it, and they're taking that opportunity. Why not?
Well, right. And I think it's easier to maybe email somebody that you don't really know.
Yes.
And to share, I mean, the stories that I hear, like, I mean, some of them are really opening up and sharing, their struggles or what they've been going through. Again, I'm not their therapist, and I'm just, either pointing them in the right direction or validating or normalizing what they're going through. But I agree. I mean, I think it also shows that they needed that at that moment. They needed to tell their story.
Yeah.
They needed to share it with somebody. And in that moment, they saw my email address or they saw my, my Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, but you also say in the book, life must have happened or else you wouldn't have picked up this book. Or
Right.
you must be open to changing your mindset or you're learning something new or else you wouldn't be on this page,
Right.
Yeah.
Like I imagine most people would be in like a self-help section of a bookstore if they're seeking, some kind of self-help. Either they're going through something now or they just want to have the tools, because the idea of this book came out of having the tools to be prepared for life. Mm-hmm. But yes, as I was writing it, I'm like, life is also happening as I'm writing the book, like it's not just about being prepared. It's about what can I do now to also help me be prepared, but to also deal with what I'm going through.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you can tell me how you got to this work. How on earth you came to this as a person. Yeah. And I love the idea that like you still use the tools, that you still need the breath, that like you still have a brain that
I think I'm always going to be a human.
Too.
I think we all do. I mean, I don't think there'll ever be a day that I don't need one of those tools, I mean, now, don't get me wrong. The tools are also, as I say in the book, the tools are also what I call self-care practices. And I've integrated them into my daily life. So I may not need them, but I still do them, right? So like my running, for instance. Running for me is a tool in my toolbox. I joke that it keeps me sane. But it's not like I can't just go for a run right now if I'm feeling stressed. But I do it on a regular basis, again, to kind of keep that stress level down. And because it's also just part of my life right now, right? So the breathing, I've integrated so much that, again, it's my routine.
Right.
I block my day in a way that I have those moments in between. But when life happens, I can also pull from it.
Yeah.
So the tools can be self-care practices when we don't need them, and also stress management tools or tools for when we do need them. But they can be the same tools, which is what I love. Like, why create something new when we're in crisis if we already know what's working for us? Just be more intentional about it. That's all.
And also maybe avoid extra crisis.
Exactly.
Because
yes.
like there's
hopefully it'll
crisis.
bring it down a
Yeah,
little.
There's gonna be stuff
It's
in
gonna
life,
happen.
but we don't need to do the extra stuff.
Exactly.
But you, like, where were you born? Like, who was your like family of origin? Like, how did the cocktail of like the special soul that you are and the environment that you were raised in bring you to this specific work?
Yeah. I mean, how much time do we have? I mean, I don't know. How much detail do you want? So, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Maryland. Most people can't believe when I tell them that. But then my quick response to that is, well, my parents are from Brooklyn. So, exactly. So I grew up in a New York City home in the middle of nowhere in Maryland. And I kind of knew that I didn't really always fit in, so to say. So my family knew the second I was ready to get out of there, I would, and probably I would end up in the New York area, at least for a short time. The stories that I always heard from my parents really just excited me. And I was like, oh my God, I want to try that out, So, but I danced growing up.
What?
Oh yeah. I know, when you were talking about all the acting, I danced for years.
So this is so interesting to me because I do find that people who with a performance background, it could be professional, semi-professional, whatever, now I understand why you take to the mic so freely, why you're such anyway. Yeah.
So yeah, I danced I think my mom says since I was 2.5. I don't know actually how accurate that is.
What like genre of dance?
Everything. I mean, I got to a point where I was teaching it in high school. I was on competitive, teams, traveling, all those things. Not teams, but like competitive groups. I didn't love ballet. It wasn't my thing. I didn't feel like I was a ballerina. I don't love labels, but I wasn't a ballerina.
But it's like a good base.
Yeah, but I needed it. I needed the foundation. I remember my dance teacher was like, you're not quitting ballet. You need it for the foundation. But I loved like tap, jazz, lyrical, modern, pretty much anything but ballet. And even in college, I danced for a short time.
Wow. What college?
So I went my freshman year to Goucher College, which is actually known for dance.
Wow.
I didn't want to go for dance though. I was always adamant that I'm not going to become a dancer, but I want to do something with dance. So I went to school my freshman year for what was called dance science.
Wow.
It was to be like a physical therapist for dancers, pretty much. But growing up in a small town in Maryland, I wasn't exposed to the eating disorders, the pressure. This is how kind of this all started. I was not exposed to it. There was never talk about body shape and size in my dance studio.
What?
Never. To this day, I thank my dance teacher, I thank my mom, I thank my family. There was never pressure. I gained weight in high school, so as I was dancing, I also got into running. One day my dance teacher was like, you got to stop running or you got to stop dancing. They were not very good for like muscles. In terms of running makes very tight muscles. I couldn't do my kicks the way I used to. I couldn't do the splits. So my senior year, I guess it was my senior year of high school, I quit the cross country team and went back to just dance. And I gained some weight. Like I was running all the time. I wasn't running all the time anymore. I gained some weight. And looking back, I remember being like now I'm like, why did somebody not tell me that it
didn't matter.
Right, it didn't matter.
That's why they didn't tell you.
I wasn't exposed, but that's like my example that I wasn't exposed to it at all. And then I went to college for dance science and was surrounded by women, young girls that were in the dance world, like I was, but more competitive, more pressure, and I was really exposed to it.
Their eating disorders.
Yeah.
But it wasn't your own experience.
It was not my experience.
It was just being a witness.
So
it's very painful.
I observed it, and I remember calling my mom one day and being like, what is going on? Like, I like that wanted to switch to psychology and understand why the brain does what it does and why people do what they do and how the mind-body connection is related and how food, influences our mood and all of that. So I changed schools, went to University of Maryland, where there's a large psychology department, and found a professor that was researching eating disorders,
right.
and was like, I want to work with you. What can I do?
Right. Wow.
And that's where it all started.
Wow.
So yeah, I always say we all struggle with our weight, I think, at one point or another. We all struggle with
I know a couple people who don't, and I love them for that. I'm so happy for them.
I mean, no, but what I mean by that is I think our weight fluctuates so much.
yeah.
Yeah. That I
As
think
women, I mean,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
water,
And I think, everybody at one point in their life could have. I did not ever have a poor relationship with food or eating. Yes, I gained some weight at some point. I wanted to lose the weight. But again, it was more what I was observing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now you're the go-to expert on body image and even
treatment of obesity as well.
Treatment of obesity.
Yeah. So what happened, that kind of flip, so to say, was I was really studying anorexia and bulimia in college with this professor. And I started taking nutrition classes, health education classes, because I was so interested in it. And because I saw how eating differently fueled my body differently, that I could show up dancing or running, because I still danced throughout college a little bit.
And when you're an athlete, you have a whole other relationship to your body.
Yes. So then one day I was like, you know what? There is a small set of individuals that are diagnosed with eating disorders, which is different than disordered eating, but diagnosed with eating disorders. I would rather help the average person who is struggling with their body, weight, shape, size, eating, etc.
Than be like a clinical psychologist in house,
just
in
specializing in exactly.
Right.
I never really
they're
wanted
saving
to do
lives.
That. Absolutely, it just
but
wasn't for me.
I do hear this in your book, which is like you're not actually speaking to anyone in crisis, and I think that's really responsible of you. These are tools for people who are saying to themselves, like, I could be in a better place. I could do better.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and I think I even put in there a few times, like, if this is you, it's time to seek help.
Oh, great.
Right. And then in the back, I have some, actually, it may not be in that version. There's some resources, including some eating disorder associations and things, and obesity organizations, all of them. I put resources in the back for people as well.
Yeah, but we're talking about preventative care.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I just put the resources there if you need them. But yes, I didn't want to work inpatient. I didn't want to do that. So then things just kind of started to happen after that. Like, I connected with the right people who were doing the right things and, believed in me, to be honest. I mean, my acknowledgement section is so long because I'm so grateful for all of the amazing people, that kind of have come my way and on my journey that have really given me a hand or believed in me or was like, I'll never forget during my internship, I wanted to stay. So I went to graduate school, got my PhD, and then I went to an internship in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Medical University of South Carolina, where one of the leading experts, psychologists, is there in the field that I work in, and I wanted to work with him. And for my postdoc, I wanted to stay another year, but there wasn't really something for me. But I found mentors, 2 of them, called me one evening, I think after, a day of work, and was like, you're going to submit this grant, or we're going to submit it with your name on it. You're going to be the principal investigator on it. So again, it's just people that believed in me, and we got that grant, and that allowed me to stay there for another year to really do research and clinical work, specifically in the treatment of obesity with bariatric surgery.
Bariatric surgery.
Yeah. But it was all because people believed in me.
You do well. You show up. I will say that dance background and being an athlete,
so helpful.
I find is so helpful because you know what it's like to, just the idea that you would take a breath before coming in here. There's a level of an understanding of what performance is, what a deadline is, like genuinely in your body. Like these are people who are looking at me and to me,
right,
in a way that, like, that you can feel on a cellular level that I know that not everybody knows.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because as you're saying that, I'm thinking like for some people when they're going to do that, it's like flipping the switch and like acting, right? Like you're going to be on now.
Yeah.
Which yes and no for me, because as much as I'm on, I'm still very human and me. But it's about hitting that button and like, okay, I'm going to just kind of like, I'm not leaving it at the door, but like, you know, I need to be focused on this right now.
I felt like when I was reading the book, like you were offering me a way to engage my mind like clay. Like it's the same mass, it's the same weight, it's going to move around a bit, you know, day to day, but you have the opportunity to get your hands in there and say, hey, babe, we're actually going to do this right now. And I really want to thank you for that.
Yeah. I love the analogy that you just used because it's actually perfect, like so perfect with the way you described my book and the way that I think about life, right? Because it is about molding things. It is about creating what we have. It's about putting our energy here versus here. But it's not like, well, now I'm a new person, right? Or
No,
like
you're still you.
Right. You're still you. And as life happens, there's different things that you're going to need to attend to and take priority in and shift the way that you do things and think about things. And there's nothing wrong with you for that. That's part of life. But it's the key is being able to do that, the flexibility of being like, today I really need this, and tomorrow maybe I need something else.
I want to talk about cognitive distortions, if you don't mind, because I'm looking at the time and I'm wanting the listener to have this tool.
Yeah, it's funny. That's the part that I read in the I ended reading that in the audiobook yesterday, and it was such a
we're
it
really
was a
mind-melding
lot.
today.
Yes, it was a lot to read of like going through all of those. But
how would we summarize it?
Yeah. So
As a takeaway.
So the psychology term is cognitive distortions, but I like to use the word unhelpful thoughts because they're just unhelpful. But what they are automatic thoughts or tendencies that we all have. So an example is, a very common example, is an all or nothing thought. Like, I'm never going to get this done, or I always do this. Or if we want to talk about food for a minute, because there's food over there in front of me. If I eat the one chip, I'm going to eat the whole bag. So the reason that these thoughts aren't helpful is because they don't make us feel good. And that's my definition of kind of cognitive distortion is an unhelpful thought. How do we know it's unhelpful? Because it doesn't make us feel good. Thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all linked. If we're going to think something that makes you feel good, go on with your day. Great.
Have at it.
Like, right, exactly. Like, if you want to look in the mirror and say whatever you want to say and it feels amazing to you, go for it. But if it's keeping you stuck, because a lot of these thoughts actually keep us stuck. If I were to say, like I did in the book, I'm never going to get this book done. I'm never going to finish writing the book. If I stayed in that thought cycle, because that's what'll happen. I'll turn in this like spiral. If I stayed in it, you would not be holding that book right now.
Right.
I would have
sure
never.
You had that thought.
I did. I wrote it in
you
the
did.
book.
Yeah.
Literally in the thoughts chapter.
Still human.
Yes. I was like, here's an example. I'm literally looking out my window right now because my office desk like looks out the window thinking I'm never going to finish this book. And then in the last chapter, I'm like, we did it. I finished it. Do you remember when I said we were never going to? We did it. But I could have stayed in that thought because what happens is the thought impacts our feelings, impacts our behaviors. That's CBT.
Really appreciated the breakdown of why we might stay in that thought, which is to protect ourselves.
Yeah. It's
because
all about protection.
rejection
Doesn't feel good.
blows.
Yeah. Who wants to be rejected? Who wants to fail?
I mean, we've all been rejected, and it really does hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to fail in public?
Right.
Ow.
So our brain gives you those thoughts, like the worst case scenario, the what if thoughts.
Those are cognitive
They're
distortions.
cognitive distortions. But the reason our brain gives us them as automatic thoughts is because if you think worst case scenario is going to happen, you don't want to do that. So you'd rather just not do it at all. So we'll just quit.
It's actually quite vulnerable, you know. I'm seeing myself in this time. It's like if I believed the rest of my life will be good and great and even better and I can build and build, then there's a vulnerability at the inevitable shocking moments. Yeah. I had this shock, this tremendous loss. And so my brain wants to say, now it's going to happen again. I just want you to know. I just want to prepare you.
Right.
So now don't get too excited. Don't put out your film. Don't put out your album, because if you get too excited, then you'll fall from grace.
Exactly.
Which actually isn't untrue. Like, I don't know exactly when
the ball's going to drop or
when the life curveball is going to curve.
Exactly. We don't know.
We do not know, but it's actually not a life worth living to just hold your breath.
Right, because what if it doesn't happen? What if great things happen?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, we're not going to wait for the perfect time, because there is no perfect time.
Right. And you're saying that when we can catch the thought, correct the thought, and then correct it again.
Right.
And probably again after that.
Exactly. Right. Well,
You'll finish the book, or at least try.
Yes. Well, we can keep tweaking the thought in a way that works for us right now.
Right.
If I had a thought right now, I'm gonna need to maybe a different tweak today than I would tomorrow, because I'm feeling something different today, right? We are a different person in a way today than we're gonna be tomorrow. Yeah. Like, life is happening. Yeah. So, but it's that flexibility of it's a few things. It's knowing you're not broken and nothing's wrong with you for having these thoughts. We all have them. And it's then the flexibility of being like, okay, taking a moment, is this thought working for me? And if it's not, what can I do differently right now? Not what I should have, could have, would have done. Not what I could do last year, because it's over and done with. But right now, what can I do to help make this work for me?
I loved the unhelpful thoughts that you laid out. All or nothing, black and white thinking.
There's labeling, there's catastrophizing.
Right.
The should statements are a big one for people. I
Huge.
should do more. I should do this. I
didn't realize that was really in the list of cognitive distortions according to CBT. I thought that was just like some sort of trend that you're shooting on yourself. But you're like, no, actually that's like a very
unhelpful. It's one of the ones that I want to say I love it, but like I love it because I love to talk about it, but they're not helpful. Because if we say I should and we don't do it, that leaves us feeling with shame and guilt and something's
like
wrong
you're a
with
failure.
it. Exactly. So instead, I like to, it's funny because in all my client sessions, if a client says I should, I literally go, hold on.
Oh, you do?
Who says you should? That's literally what I stop them in the moment. And that's eventually what I want you to do to yourself. I want you to eventually be like, wait a minute, who says I should do that? Do I want to do it? Do I choose to do it? Do I need to do it? They feel different. They sound different.
Do I get to do that?
Exactly.
You talk about that with the gym.
Yeah, it's a great example.
I should go to the gym, which
who says you should?
Real. Well, everyone says, Dr. Rachel, everyone says I should go to the gym.
Well, you know what I would say? Do you want to go to the gym?
No, I get to go to the gym. I have a healthy body. I'm alive.
But there's also ways to do all of that without going to the gym. Maybe the gym is not for you. Like I love running.
Gym, the actual gym.
Right. So like I love running outside. Should I go to the gym?
No.
Do I want to go to the gym? Maybe. Do I want to go on a run? Yes. It's all, we have a choice.
Yeah.
And eventually what happens is because our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all linked, we start really believing our thoughts and we become our thoughts. Like our thoughts become our reality, our self-talk. So we have the choice. Do I want to feel this shame and this failure if I say I should? Or is there something I can say that's a little more encouraging, right?
You do mention many times, well, what is in your control? I wonder, are you referencing the Serenity Prayer? No, you're not.
No, but people mention that a lot.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
it overlaps quite a bit.
It's all over the book. Like, what is in your control? I actually gave a talk the other day. You were invited. And it was about the Serenity Prayer. And it was the first time, this past year was the first time I really understood that there are things I cannot change. Not just other people, but the way of the world. I cannot change life and I cannot change death. I cannot bring my sister back. I do not.
Big acknowledgement.
It was the first time. Now, I was in OA for 5 years, and every single day I would go into a 12-step meeting and we would say the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
We would
it's
say
very
it,
CBT.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, because you're really trying, you're talking
I mean,
straight
you're
to your
focusing
brain.
on what's in your control and thinking about your thoughts, right? And really just what can I do about it now? Like, this is where I am, and now how do I move forward?
Exactly.
Right? Like, we're not going to go back.
Well, you say it every time you speak to your sponsor, every time you speak
Right.
to your sponsee,
Exactly.
every time you go in or out of the room. 5 years of that, and I never understood that there are things I cannot change. And because of that understanding, there are genuinely things I cannot change. I cannot change when the sun rises. I cannot change when the sun sets. I cannot change where I was born and when and why and how. There are things I cannot change, genuinely.
Right.
And
there's things you can change.
no, like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot
So
of
you can't change
things.
where you were born, but you can decide where you want to live.
But like in that moment of understanding what I cannot change, what is not mine to change, that I live inside a system in order that I can't really understand completely.
I bet you got so much relief from acknowledging that. Like, the pressure was just like, let go.
Yeah, relief.
Okay, no, but I feel like the pressure.
It was
Like, I can't-
illuminating
Right.
to understand that there were so many things I could change. There are, and there will always be things that I can change
Yeah.
as long as I'm alive.
Yeah.
Like, you have so much agency in your life that I, at least, did not acknowledge
Yeah.
until I took all the things that are not mine off my plate. They've never been on my plate.
Right. You took them off your plate. The
But they
things
were
that-
never there.
Right.
I just like,
You put them on there feeling like you had to do these things or had the pressure to change them. And now you're like, wait a minute, that's out of my control. Why am I even thinking about it?
yeah.
Why am I worried about that?
Yeah. It's like an
it's
X-ray.
mind-blowing.
It's really X-ray
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, your car to your network TV gig is,
Oh, wait, I don't even know what time. Oh my gosh, it's probably
It's here.
Okay.
I could talk to you forever.
I didn't look at that
I
time
want to
yet.
thank you for this book. I stopped
Thank
at goals
you.
because you said in the beginning of the book, hey, babe. You didn't say it like that.
I did, sure.
You said, hey, you take this at your
Yes.
time. And I wasn't ready for goals. And maybe tonight I
And
will
maybe
be.
you skip, but
And
maybe you skip that chapter too. Skip it. Go back to it when you feel ready to focus on goals.
Right, it's a dynamic
Because there's
read. It
goals
really
is chapter.
I don't know. It's like in
Not
like the
5.
70s.
Yeah. Because you might want to skip to like the toolbox chapter or the body image chapter or tying it all together chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to go in order.
It's a real dynamic read. It feels like you're
appreciate that.
there with the reader. And then if the reader ever wants to email you, they can.
They can, because I put that in there. Too late to
that's-
change it now.
It's really amazing that you did
you.
that. And such a testament to your warmth and generosity and
you.
energy.
It's funny now that you're saying that. I think my editor at one point was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
I've never read that before in my I
And
read
I
a
was
lot
like,
of books for my
yeah,
job.
why would I not?
Yeah, good on you. Good
We'll see.
on you.
Ask me again in a few months how I feel about it. No, I'm kidding.
But so far, so good.
no, it's good. I mean, the book isn't out.
Yeah,
in
but
the
you
world
have your
yet.
DMs open and you're
Yeah,
enjoying
yeah.
it and you're
I do
finding
enjoy
it manageable. And
Yeah.
where can we find the book and where can we find you?
Thank you. So I'm Dr. Rachel NYC across social media platforms, and my book is whenlifehappensbook.com, which you can find at any of your bookstores beginning April 7th, but on pre-order now, and hopefully it'll be available everywhere and anywhere. Hopefully. We'll see.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. Thank you so much
you.
for all your hard work and for,
Thank you for everything.
for being here today, for making the time. I really do appreciate
Thank you.
it so
I'm
much.
so glad we finally did that.
I know we did it. It was the
Yes.
perfect time.
It was. Thank you for being you.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. This has been a Hoff Studios production. Executive producer, Laura Lucetti. I'm your host and creator, Daniella Rabbani. Come find me at Daniella Rabbani. My DMs are open and I want to hear everything. Also, if you like the show, please send it to a friend and leave a review.